Okay, today we're going to discuss how to live free off of WPAY and ULTY income. These are high yield dividend paying funds by Yieldmax and Roundhill that help us earn over $950,000 per year in dividends and retire early. If you need help doing the same, email me for my e-guides at aikentod48@gmail.com or head to my website, unconventionalwealthideas.com, where we're leading the FIRE movement. Okay, so we're also outperforming the markets with ULTY, margin, and also now our WPAY holding. We're up 31% for the year. The S&P is up 11, the Nasdaq's up 14, the Dow's up 7, the Russell's up 9. How are we up 31% and the S&P is only up 10? Well, it's because we've been buying funds like ULTY and WPAY, but there's a way to do it to maximize your performance so that you can not only outperform the markets, but also live free from 9 to 5 without having any interruption to paying your bills, keeping your available withdrawal high. Even if you do have a 9 to 5, which is great, as long as you love what you do, you use that to power up your brokerage account, all right? You use dividends and your W-2 income to qualify for loans that way, and your dividends to qualify for loans in other ways. That's how we really leveled up. We took our account from 1 million to 2 million recently because, yes, we've had about 31% in performance gains, as you can see this year alone. And every year we get about 30% plus. We were up 50% in the first year here on YouTube. But this year and some years before that, we collected hundreds of thousands in loans. So about 500,000 in loans in total. So that's how we've grown our account from 15,000 during Corona to ultimately 2 million. Okay, 15,000 to 100,000 was obviously Cornerstone and the triple C's, which we'll discuss in a little bit. My margin debt has grown because my members and I put together some great ideas this week, and we're even buying after hours. I was to raise my margin some. We have some great ideas selected for next week to continue outperforming. But the key with Roundhill funds and weekly pairs like Avgo, for example, is it's 100% maintenance. All of the Roundhill stocks that I know of are 100% maintenance. Avgo is 100% maintenance. If we do any other fund of theirs, you'll see that they are 100% maintenance. So picking AppW right here, for example, at Roundhill, okay? AppW, any of these funds, okay? Even Apple, which is a conservative fund, all right? AppW, let's just see what the maintenance is here. Okay, it's also 100%. So that's a problem when we're trying to live the FIRE lifestyle, as you know, and the whole key to this FIRE lifestyle, financially independent, retire early, is obviously high available withdrawal, okay? And you need that in order to keep that cushion from margin call, which we never even got close to since starting this channel. And you also need to be able to, again, withdraw and pay your bills. Okay, even during a 20% market correction, okay, we've been able to withstand 20% plus corrections with no problem, thanks to how we delever with our triple C's, which we talk about in volume 7. That's how we got through the tariff crash, the whole Trump war issue that we had, a few months ago. How did we outperform even with margin? How do we outperform the NASDAQ? It's because we delevered properly, always watching our available for withdrawal. Okay, that's how we did this with the triple C's. It's how you maximize your gains on the upside, the triples being the leverage funds, C's being Cornerstone, but it's how you also use these funds to increase your available withdrawal as you fall, because as you know, 100,000 in a single, that's still at let's say 50% maintenance, that's taking up 50,000 of your equity. But if you go 30,000 in a triple, even at 100% maintenance, it's still taking up less of your equity. So all those techniques we discuss in volume 7, that's why it's my most expensive e-guide, because it's the most viable e-guide, and it's how we really got ahead since the tariff lows, okay? And my members all know that volume 7 is probably the most valuable. And so if we're playing this maintenance game, watching our available withdrawal, how can we live free from 9 to 5 with stocks like Avgo? Also, stocks don't win over time. I mean, yes, stocks win, but trading loses over time. So how do you get the best of both worlds? You need compounding, okay? You need gains, best of both worlds with capital gains and dividends. So how do you get that compounding if you can't put it all in a stock? All right, and if you put it all in a stock, like Avgo, which is a huge part of the indexes. Avgo is a top 10 holding in the indexes. You want to have it, but it's 100% maintenance. So if the market's falling, you're really getting hurt in a stock because it's higher beta and you're at 100% maintenance. So how can you do this? I mean, you have to put all your money behind it to compound and make money. That's what I keep saying at my channel. I don't know about other channels, but we want to not only get dividend yields, we want outperformance, we want capital gains, but we want compounded dividends and capital gains. You can get best of both worlds. And so you can't put all your money in a stock. A stock could lose. All right. And so also 100% maintenance would suck up all of your equity. Okay. So this is the problem with using weekly payers like Roundhill, but you can switch to a WPAY, which I think is sort of a life hack because WPAY is 50% maintenance and it holds all of the Roundhill funds. If you need help understanding maintenance, that's in my volume 3 e-guide. So if we're here at the Roundhill website, you'll see, for example, the weekly pay ETFs, ABW, AMW, all these are great holdings. We have these in our account for the most part. But again, they're 100% maintenance, so you can't use too much of those. You have to go with WPAY, that's the universe of all of these weekly paying stocks. Again, 100% maintenance, and stocks are risky if you trade them. 90% of traders lose. The statistics are on our side with going with the indexes. So WPAY is generally the index. I mean, it's not the index. These are the names, but it's diversified, and it's getting you good index correlation so far, and we've been getting good outperformance with our WPAY and margin recently. And again, you have to compound to make your money. So you can put your money in WPAY and actually compound it. You can put all your money in WPAY and then actually do some good in your account. You can get dividends plus capital gains. However, if you're trying to also lower your margin like we do here at my channel, because when you lower your margin, it raises your not only your available withdrawal, but when you lower your margin with dividends, it then grows your account by the equivalent amount. So if I have 500,000 in dividends and we receive those dividends, the margin falls by 500,000 and then our account grows by 500,000 in a flat market. Obviously we have X date dividend drops, but we were up 35,000 on Thursday, which was the X date dividend drop for us. And so that we didn't even see that drop off because we had such strong days gains, which I documented in the last video. And so we're getting days gains, even with the ex-dividend date drop-off, assuming a flat market, our market value grows by the equivalent amount of our dividends, and then our margin goes to zero. It's a great system. My margin doesn't show up on a credit check to banks if you're new to my channel. It doesn't need a credit check. These are low interest margin rates, okay, that most of my members have because they have my number when they buy my bundles, and so I send you the script when you need it, but I'm just under a lot of pressure right now. I'm dealing with my premium members first. I will get to all my platinum members next, okay? There's a YouTube premium platform. You know, I use YouTube premium membership so you can see my portfolio. But also, I send my script to all my members as well. They have my number. You get Discord and my number when you buy my e-guides. And, you know, Discord is this chat room here, and we alert you of the Cornerstone rights offering announcement, and we have every other resource here under the sun for financial freedom. Okay, it's just gotten so crowded. That's why I started my own little chat room over at Circle. It's within Discord, so you can find all that when you buy my e-guides. You get my bundle and you get my number. You get Discord access free for life, okay? And if you want to hear more about my ideas, my private chat, head over to Circle from Discord, okay? It's only for Discord members. I'm not opening that up to the public. So if we're not worried about our margin rates, as I always say at this juncture, and I'm glad I got that announcement out, thank you, then I'm not worried about having this margin debt on, obviously, with WPAY, but I want to pay it down fast, and WPAY doesn't give you that ability, so you combine it with ULTY. That's the next part of the secret, okay? It's like a 3-step process here. First, you take the stocks, you combine them into an index like WPAY. Then you take ULTY, which is diversified but with less quality names. As you can see here, ULTY on the Yieldmax website, if you're just now tuning into my channel, 84% yield for ULTY. It's been up nicely in the past 3 to 6 months. It was up 30% according to some charts. And we see the total return here for ULTY is 12%. But again, factor back in dividends in the last 6 months and you'll have a different outcome. And look at the holdings, quite sketchy compared to WPAY. However, this is giving you the yield you need to knock down your margin so fast and then grow your account so fast that my margin debt becomes negligible to me because it's paid down in less than 1 year. It's paid down in basically 6 months. So ULTY is the big reason why my margin keeps getting paid down. And if you play ULTY properly, which all my members know how to do, when you follow my portfolio, then you're actually getting this outperformance just from margin alone. Doesn't even matter what the market's doing. That's how we're up 31% year to date when the market's only up 10, because we're getting performance from our margin growth from ULTY paying down our account margin, which then grows our account value, okay? So keep that in mind. That's how we're growing with ULTY. You combine that with WPAY, which is indexed, so you don't have the stock-specific risk, and it has the lower maintenance, okay, so that you're getting best of both worlds. ULTY is also low maintenance in a sense. WPAY is 50% maintenance, and ULTY is 50% maintenance. So some members might say at this juncture, all right, well, I'm going to go all in ULTY, all in, you know, forget even YMAX, because they like, let's say, the share price appreciation ability of WPAY over YMAX, even though I think that YMAX, you know, has its own benefits that should be in the portfolio, you know, has its own reasons. So let's just say you went with ULTY and, again, WPAY, because you want to run with this idea all the way to the max, because that's how I do it. When I find something that works, I go all the way with it and test it out. Well, what would happen is you couldn't actually do that, because chat, let me know if I'm wrong. I know that this is how it is for me at E-Trade, okay? And let me know if you think there's a better combination of funds to retire on, et cetera, et cetera. Let me know your thoughts on WPAY versus, let's say, maybe even a YMAX. But here, it's all about maintenance. Once again, we've already laid that out. And, you know, so we laid that out in the beginning part of this video. And if you did ULTY and WPAY together, you would have so much of your equity sucked up that you couldn't maximize your performance that way at E-Trade. Other brokers have lower maintenance, but you don't want to necessarily buy more of ULTY or WPAY, because, again, you're missing out on benefits. First of all, you're exposing yourself to too much risk when you do that. With ULTY, for example, there's too many drawdown risks with ULTY. All my members found that out the tough way last week and the week before that. Okay, you know, last couple months ULTY's been struggling. Look at this chart with ULTY, and a lot of members have been complaining who are all in on ULTY. I never claimed to go all in on ULTY. Maybe some channels do, but I don't. And we just played ULTY properly the whole way down, my members and I. So ULTY will have major drawdowns, will make you have major drawdowns in your account. So if you took this all the way with ULTY and YMAX, ULTY and WPAY, you would have major drawdowns and you would have a lot of your equity sucked up, okay? Equity is the key to everything, okay? For every $1 you put in your account, you get $4 of purchasing power, okay? I would have much more, but I'm using margin. And so we keep this available withdrawal high because we want to make sure that our maintenance is low. That's why I always anchor with Cornerstone, because if you took this idea all the way to the max, you would find that you're not using enough of your equity, okay? And Cornerstone's 30% maintenance. It is the index as well, kind of like WPAY, but much more diversification, and it gives you a 20% yield at the NAV, and then you get the 20% gains every month dripped at the NAV on top of your 20% dividend, okay? And you get days gains with Cornerstone. Cornerstone is a 4-star fund. My members know this. I have to be repetitive about Cornerstone because it's been around since the 80s. It's what got me here. It's what got me from 15,000 to 1 million, so I'm never going to leave Cornerstone out of the picture. Just make sure you play Cornerstone properly, and that's in my Volume 4E guide. I'm so proud of how we play Cornerstone. I mention it almost every time I show you this chart of Cornerstone, because we sold at the highs for Cornerstone and then we bought at the lows, and that was all thanks to the rights offering announcement that we got at Discord. Sold at the highs here, bought at the lows there. How do we do that? Well, I talk about that in Volume 4 and in our Discord chat when we got the Cornerstone rights offering announcement at that time. Okay, so that's how we really got ahead this year. It was in that Cornerstone rights offering announcement section here on Discord that, you know, that's where the news came, and that's why we're able to react after hours, okay, and sell Cornerstone. And so me and my members and I all did this together. And so what's really happening with Cornerstone, though, is that you're only using 30% of your equity. That's the key, while getting index performance. The other day, Cornerstone outperformed the NASDAQ. I showed you that in the last video. So that's how we're getting not only days gains, compounded capital gains, with our dividends compounded, with a drip profit every month, but we're also offsetting decay that comes from ULTY, okay, because the drawdowns are too massive in ULTY. So that's how we've been preserving our equity. It's with Cornerstone. And then, of course, we've been preserving our equity with the triple Cs. Everyone thinks that the triples are such high maintenance, and they are, but a lot of them are 75% maintenance, and they've been moving higher during this recent market melt up. Obviously, we're going to get better performance with our triples than with an ULTY, and we're getting actually lower maintenance than you would think of, because we always manage our position sizes in the triples properly. We have all the percentages laid out in Volume 7. All right, so that's how we've been preserving our equity during the downturn, using Cornerstone, using the triple Cs, but watching our position sizes. That's how you do that. And then We've been obviously getting more gains from our sold puts. Okay, you have to have these sold puts. Yieldmax sells puts. They sell options. So does Roundhill. Why aren't you selling your own options? Okay, we sell these options. Look, we just sell time, and you can see the gains just rack up slowly over time. The best part about selling options and getting your extra outperformance, which is how we're getting this 31%, it's part of it, a big part of it, are these conservative strategies with selling options that lowered our margin by about $50,000 to $100,000. So my margin debt would be much higher right now if it weren't for these. If it weren't for the sold puts that I have on, we'd have $700,000 to $750,000 of margin debt. I sell naked options, level 3 options, and you can find out all about that in my volume 6 e-guide on how to sell put options. All right, we just did a deep dive, my members and I, on some put options this weekend. We really laid out the theory there. We talked about it in circle, and it was a great session. Okay, we have some great ideas for next week, some great puts that we're going to sell. And there's an art to doing these puts where, again, there's such low risk. You're just selling time and selling volatility, getting paid upfront, lowering your margin, lowering your volatility, and increasing your performance. And that's all with selling put options, okay? And again, Yieldmax and them do it. Why don't you do it on top of your own holdings of Yieldmax and Roundhill? Okay, so I believe that's everything that I wanted to mention today. If you need more help doing what I'm doing, living free from 9 to 5, or if you just want to add more income to your 9 to 5 and supercharge your brokerage account, email me for my e-guides at akintodd48@gmail.com. We're up 31% for the year. The S&P is up only 11%, just to keep things in perspective. We're earning over $900,000 in dividends, and that's not going to stop anytime soon because we keep growing with our margin. And pretty soon this will be at $1 million. We could be at $1 million already, but we're trying to be conservative here. When I started out with margin, I started out much more aggressively. That's how some members are getting ahead and beating me with their performance, and I applaud them for that. I was telling Capital G that in the comments today that he's using a smaller account, for example, and he was saying that in his comment, and he's able to use more margin. And that's exactly right, because if you have, let's just say you have a $50,000 or $100,000 account and you use, let's say, $50,000 of margin even, which is, a double of your account on $50,000, you can still offset that type of risk with deposits from your paycheck, okay? And if you have a job, whereas when you have a much larger account and you're using much larger amounts of margin, you can't obviously offset that with payments from any outside source because the margin debt would be too big, obviously. Okay, so you can email me for my e-guides or head to my website, unconventionalwealthideas.com, where we're leading the FIRE movement. You can see all my testimonials and all about my bundles here, okay, all about my e-guides. All right, so I'll get into the comments. I want to be brief because I don't want to make the video too long, obviously. So I just want to say hey to everyone, and then I'll see y'all this week. Hey, Zai. Hey, Big C. Network with Frank. Hey, Frank. Hey, Strong. Chris. I'm going to just say P-R-Y. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. Hey, Pry. Hey, Chris. Capital G. Oh, yes. Yeah, I saw your comment this not only this morning, Capital, but I saw this one. And happy birthday coming up. And, I'm so glad you're here on your, let's just say on your work break listening to me. Hopefully it's not during actual work. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. Hey, Breadman, and I applaud you for everything you're doing, Capital. Great outperformance that you're getting, and way to use that paycheck to supercharge your account. Hey, Breadman, Tom, Frank, yeah, I hope you like this. It was all about margin, how to think about compounding, all about maintenance and compounding and getting the most out of your account. And I think we laid those points out well in this video, Frank. Hey, Dividend, Titan, Justin, Fast Guy, let's go, FIRE movement, unite. I love it. Thank you, Fast Guy. Jigs, we're approaching valuations where we can see markets correct a minimum 20%, so I would be more careful. Jigs, I never worry about that kind of stuff because we talk about how to deleverage in Volume 7. I already have all the stuff that I'm going to deleverage from. I'm not worried about it in the slightest bit, Jigs. And whoever's fear-mongering, they always, lose. And the bull market needs a wall of worry to climb. A 20% correction would be welcome. I cannot wait. Hey, Velocity, you're researching having ULTY and WPAY as your main income boost. You're reading my mind. Yep, absolutely, Velocity, but also keep in mind the maintenance and getting the best bang for your buck using other funds. We have, over 200 funds in our portfolio, for example. Hey, Frosty, thanks for everything. My admin, Frosty, Gaines, Hashor, Ray, Paul, I love y'all so much. I love all my members, and I don't know what I would do without my admin at Discord. Hey, Chip. Hey, Greg. Although things are getting very crowded at Discord, even my admin can't keep up. So, again, we've moved our conversations, about my strategies over to Circle. And on Discord, we can just, discuss anything else that's finance related, okay? Hey, Greg, done with church and lunch, and you thought of us. I love it. No, thank you, Greg. I appreciate you thinking of me too, okay, and keeping your alerts on for my videos. Hey, Richard. Hey, Eric. Good morning. Hey, Lewis. Stefan. I hope I'm saying that right. Pro, you definitely like WPAY and use it. Okay. Silos. Sniper. I think Schwab WPAY is not marginal. It's 100%. Oh, man, that's a real bummer, Sniper. Hopefully that changes over time. Hey, Money. What percentage of your portfolio is options? I would say that's a good question. Let's talk about that in the next members only section in the video, because I actually haven't done that math in quite a bit. Hey, Brett, liking WPAY, 50% maintenance. That's right. Chris, I think E-Trade starts off tickers at 100 and then can be changed from there. E-Trade, I wish they would change, Chris, but it's probably unlikely. They're very stubborn, but I like that because it helps keep me safe. Hey, Major, I hope you got that link. Okay. Great session. All right. It was great talking with you. Ancient, I guess I'll buy a little, but I'm spread thin, focusing on building YBTC and Cornerstone. Yet YBTC and Cornerstone, what a nice combination. All right, very interesting. Ancient. All right, Kenya, the maintenance for these funds is much lower on Robinhood. That's right, Kenya, but they don't have Cornerstone, unfortunately, and that's where you get the special drip at NAV. That's the great advantage to using Cornerstone, is that drip at NAV, the RO ability to level up like we did during the last few rights offerings, and you get days gains. Hey, Chris, ULTY is 50%. That's right. Tasher, I'll only be a few months since Charlie Kirk's funeral. Oh, I'm sorry, right now. A few minutes. Yeah, we know that, that was a terrible tragedy, and I hope to see you back when you get the chance, Tasher. Hey, Money, right? That's right. Good information, but no Cornerstone. And ULTY, you don't want to put too much just because it's 30%, but that's just my opinion. Hey, Kenya, hey, Money with 5.5% interest. That's right. Can't argue with the maintenance. Margin interest, at Robinhood, but you can also lower your margin interest at other brokers. All right. And Kenya, you miss out on so much using E-Trade or Schwab because of the higher interest for margin, but you can negotiate that down, Kenya. All right. I got to prioritize my members. Sniper, exactly. But on Robinhood, you can't even buy the Cornerstones. Exactly, Sniper. And you can't go all in on ULTY just because it's lower maintenance. Jason, huge Robinhood fan, but it's a numerous limitations. Exactly. No closed-end funds like Cornerstone, no ability to buy rights, and also unfavorable order fills by market makers. Remember what they did to everyone in 2020 when they froze everything, Jason? So that's why I could never be with Robinhood. Granted shares, love them. Keep Cornerstone and E-Trade, but then you don't get compounding power, Kenya. That's just my opinion. Exactly. Can't go all in, Tasher. Chris, you've gone all in on ULTY for your Roth. Okay. Silver, good morning. The best combination I've used is CLM and YMAX. Can't argue with that, SL. For margin reduction, I like to throw a little ULTY in if you're a margin guy. In addition to the announcement in Discord, Todd, do you also send out a text? Yes, Tasher. You have my SMS text because, when you have that membership tier, let's say the 50 a month, then you get all those perks below that, Tasher. Good question. Hey, Major, can't quite see your list. What section is WPAY in? WPAY. It's near the top of the portfolio, Major Sam. We put a good amount in it to start, okay? Just review the last week's video because I went through all the allocations on Friday. Sniper, you won't see that in a public video. That's right, Sniper. This is a public video. And I can't wait to get to my members this week. When things get really exciting, we'll be in those live, private videos. And whenever I'm not there, then you have me SMS text, you have that. And then you have, obviously, Circle now if you need my, daily thoughts. And our strategy sessions there. Again, great ideas for next week. Can't wait to share that with y'all, premium members this week. Right, exactly, Tasher. Jason, the drip at NAV combined with margin like a Russian doll of dividends. Todd's out here changing lives. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. I know it's repetitive, but, success should be repetitive. Okay. Crisco, way more people watching than likes. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, everyone, like this video if you can. Okay, like and subscribe. Okay. But all the ones who have an ear for this and care to really get ahead will, watch these videos, but just like it to make sure that it gets promoted to you. Okay. The more you like it, the more it gets recommended to you. Travel, morning. Thanks for spending your Sunday with us. Are you still in the process of sending out the scripts? Yes, Travel Life. Since you're a member, please text me. I'm prioritizing members first, okay? I'm getting the 35 and up and then the 20s. I'm pretty much done with 35s, so we can start, getting 20s in there. But as soon as that happens, then I always get more 35 upgrades. We're going to get more tonight, I'm sure. And so that's why I keep, staying at the 35s, if that makes sense. Pro Fast Guy, if you're enjoying the content, don't forget to smash that ravishing like button. Thank you, Pro Fast Guy. Yen, Ricardo, good to see you both. Okay, Silverliner, another great live stream. You'll hear from me soon. Okay, SL, can't wait. All right, where was I? James, love this, Todd. Thank you, James. G, I'm self-employed, so no trouble to get it. Okay, thanks, capital G. All right, thanks for clarifying that. And that's wonderful that you're using both, your passion from your job, not your job, but what you love to do, self-employed, on your terms to power up your brokerage. I love that, capital G. I don't have anything against work, only if it's on your terms, and it's helping you get ahead. Purist, hey there, Mike. IBKR has most Roundhill funds and ULTY at 25-30%. That's right, Mike Chan. But they don't have the drip at NAV for Cornerstone. That's the only problem, Mike. And so also, they don't have the same interface, as E-Trade. Just me personally, Mike. Hey, Madison, welcome to the monthly portfolio update. Okay, Madison, when I make a video, just be aware, that I lock it after 24 to 48 hours just because, it prevents just members who, get in the monthly tier to go watch everything and then leave. That's just something that, unfortunately, some people try to game the system. So just be ready for the next video, Madison. All right, Silver. Obviously, you get to always see my videos at all time when you're weekly and up. Silver, I'm a member of the Church of Todd. Thank you, SL. Oh, man, thank you. I know what you mean. This is like a way of life. It's almost like a religion. CLOS, no CRM or CLF maintenance fees that a retail Fidelity customer has to deal with. Yeah, there's no fees, CLOS. It's more like maintenance, okay? And CRF and CLM have a little bit higher maintenance at Fidelity, I hear. Yes, you got the link. You're welcome, Major. Okay, glad you got that link, okay? I just had to make sure I was protecting everyone's identities and that material because that was great material. It was not only how to sell puts using the techniques that we use, but it was also how I set up my charts so you can read those puts better, and it was a gold mine of information in my opinion. We talk about that in volumes 1 and 2, Major, and I don't think a lot of members really put enough priority on volume 2. They always want to go to margin volume 3 and Cornerstone volume 4 and the others that are more exciting. I get that. But how I've been getting this outperformance with these entry points and exits, it's because of volume 2. Jason, I'm overwhelmed on these terms. I guess I'll need to buy your bundles to learn more. Yeah, Jason, that helps you it gives you the foundation, and you can call me anytime you need any clarifying on anything. Ranger, doing the Lord's work, Todd, as usual. Thank you, Ranger. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love, everyone. Chosen, if you had 10K to invest, what would you invest in Monday? I'm going to do another video on 10K. So we did a 50K recently, Chosen. Check that out. And then I'm going to do 10K next, okay? Hi, Todd. It's pronounced Private Eye. Oh, Private Eye. Okay, that's easy. Got you, Private Eye. Thank you. Yeah, RIP Charlie Kirk. So sad. What a shame. Okay, and I have other footage that shows other stuff, okay? I won't talk about it on this live. I'll share it with my members. I don't know if y'all saw that. A lot of questions. Pro Fast Guy, do you like AOTG? And when I say a lot of questions, I just mean I'm never going to talk about this subject. It's just why would they do that? But anyway, Pro Fast Guy, do you like AOTG? I don't know what that is. Please clarify. Simon, aside from rights offerings, WPAY is much better than Cornerstone. It covers the index in a better way than covered calls can. I would not say that, Simon, because you don't get the drip at NAV, and obviously you said aside from the rights offerings, but you can also get days gains potential in Cornerstone that's bigger if you play the RO properly and the premium thresholds properly. But that's just my opinion, and I'm trying to preserve my equity, Simon. Once again, it's all about equity preservation and compounding. It's more diversified, okay? I appreciate this comment, Simon, and Cornerstone's much more diversified, okay? What if tech, craps the bed? All right, then you're going to see some pain with WPAY versus Cornerstone. All right, we don't want another 2022 happening. Yeah, absolutely, Richard. Okay, Ricardo, best channel on YouTube. Thank you, Todd, for all the hard work you do. Thank you, Ricardo. Lewis, you use Webull. Okay, all right, excellent. They don't have that Cornerstone drip, right? Or let me know if they do, Lewis. We talk about that all the channel, all the brokers that have that in our Discord chat room, that have the special drip. Michael, hey Todd, love your content. What do you think about SPMO? Let's talk about that on Monday or Tuesday, Michael, okay? Because I'm running low on time here, and that would be great for a members-only video, and I see you're a member, and thanks for that badge. I see that color, Michael. Thank you, brother. Matthew, Misty and ULTY are paying for my wedding. God bless. Thank you, Todd. Congratulations, Matthew. Oh, that's great. John, love Circle Conference, Todd. Lots of strategy info, very useful. So I'm glad you're liking Circle, John. Okay. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of good feedback from Circle, and that's all there for Discord members. And Discord's free when you buy my e-guides. We have an FAQ section on Circle if you ever need that. That part is free. And then we have the premium chat. But we had to make a premium for many reasons, okay? We didn't want it to turn into another Discord, which is great. Discord is great. We just have to stay on topic, and we have to make sure that we're, keeping that for the financial wealth of information that it is, okay? It's a great resource. All right, and then we talk strategy more in Circle now. At least I do for my members. There's a lot of other strategy talk in Discord, when it comes to the How to Fire Lifestyle channel, like right here. Hey, KYN, I'll say Clips. You're rolling 40K over to 401K. What's the best strategy to grow the money? Call me, Clips, okay? We'll talk about that. Everyone's different. Pro, and I don't give advice. I just share what works with me. AOT, growth and innovation. Okay. Yeah, we'll break down the charts and the maintenance and all that when we get a chance in the next video. Okay, Pro? All right, anyone else who's asking about that? All right, Dividend. I like Koi over Misty. Yeah, I could agree with that, Dividend, in a sense. Performance has been nice, and YieldBoost has the protective puts, so they all serve a purpose. If you need more help doing what I'm doing, living financially free from 9 to 5, email me for my e-guides at akintosh48@gmail.com or head to my website, unconventionalwealthideas.com. All right, this is how we're outperforming the market. It's using these techniques, WPAY and ULTY, but using them properly, okay? And that's how you really get ahead, all right? And in order to do this, you have to keep maintenance in mind, and you have to keep, the rules of using margin in mind, which we talk all about in Volume 3. Oh, Rose, sorry. You like Cornerstone and how it started? Right, and then also, Eric, Circle was great, especially the chat. Anyone considering it, just jump in. Thank you, Eric. I'll try to edit that last part out. It'll be nice and convenient because we get to add your comment back in. Silverliner, I'm starting blocks. It's better than Bitto. Okay, Matt, up 30% on the year. Thanks to Todd. Thanks, Matt. I'm so glad I got these comments in at the very end. All right, I love y'all. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.